Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. If this is your first time to my channel, I'm Violet. Welcome, and I hope you consider subscribing. So today I'm going to share with you how I made these beautiful farmhouse Christmas wreaths using mainly Dollar Tree items. One will be used with clothespins and another one is going to be used as fabric. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. It'll truly help my channel grow. So for our first DIY, we're going to be using the package of clothespins. Now, what I did was basically open the clothespins and then I pulled them all apart to remove that metal spring inside each one of the clothespins. Then I glued the clothespins back together, but I glued them back to back. So both of the clothespins, you put glue on the back side of it and then just glue them together. And as you can see, I already glued most of my clothespins together just for video purposes to make sure that I had them all completely done. But here I am just doing the last few clothespins, basically again, just gluing back to back of each one and then just squeezing them together and letting them dry for a few seconds. Of course, you can use wood glue if you're not comfortable using hot glue on these clothespins, but the hot glue did work perfectly fine. So once you're done with all of your clothespins, go ahead and grab something round. You can either draw on a cardboard and use that. I'm just using one of these plastic plates from Dollar Tree. It's one of the dessert plates, and I'm just going to use it to make my wreath around it. So what I started doing was just basically setting all my clothespins around the plastic plate. And of course you can do this any way you want, whatever way design you want as well. I'm just kind of making sure that I don't have a huge gap in between each one of the clothespins, and then I'm going to start gluing them together once I'm happy with the amount of clothespins I put around my plastic plate to form my wreath. So as you can see, all you're going to do is put some glue on either end of the tip of your clothespin, and then you're just going to glue them side by side. And every so often, just kind of move it around if you're going to have, like I did, some paper or something underneath, just in case some of that hot glue drips down to the bottom and starts gluing and drying to the paper. So every once in a while, just kind of move your clothespins around just to make sure that they don't glue to your paper or whatever you have on the bottom. So again, just add a little dot of glue at the end and at the tip of your clothespin, and then start attaching it to the ones you already did around the plastic plate or anything round that you have. You can even make this into a square wreath if you like. Whatever design you want, just make sure you have something small to put in the middle to form your wreath around. I thought this was absolutely adorable, and I'm using it for Christmas, for the holidays, but you can use it basically for any holiday or all year round, depending on your style, especially if you have a farmhouse style. You can use this indoors or outdoors. Since it is the wood pieces, you can do indoors or outdoors, but if you do use it outdoors, I would recommend you put some kind of clear coat over the clothespins just so they can be protected from the weather outdoors. But you can easily change this around for any season or even, again, all year round, just depending on the ribbons or flowers or any decoration that you put on this wreath. So once you're done with all of your clothespins onto your wreath, just allow it to dry for a few seconds. And then what you're going to do is grab one more of your clothespins, and we're going to glue it where it's going to be the top of our wreath. And we're going to glue it with the point side down towards the wreath. But before you do glue it, make sure you grab any kind of ribbon or jute twine, whatever you're going to use to hang your wreath. And then as you can see, in between that clothespin, there's an opening. So just slide your ribbon or rope, in my case, through that opening on your clothespin. And then you're just going to form a loop on the top by tying a knot. And that's going to be what you're going to hang your wreath from. So then again, once you did that, just go ahead and make sure it fits in the area that you want to place it in, and then put some glue on either end of that tip and then insert it into your wreath, and there you have it. So that's how you can hang your wreath, and that's where you know the top part of your wreath is at. So basically you're done. You can stain it. You can paint your clothespins or spray paint them any color you want. I basically just did a light staining on some of my clothespins, not all of them. And that's all I did to mine. Now what I'm going to do is grab some of this checkered ribbon that I had from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to eyeball it and cut them into strips of 6. You can cut as many strips as you like, depending on how large of a bow you want. And then I'm just going to fold those strips into half to form and just kind of give my ribbons a nice clean edge on each one of my ribbons. And I'm just cutting towards the wire to form that point. So you go ahead and do that to every strip of ribbon that you're going to use. And then when you're done doing that, what we're going to do is basically make what I call a simple bow, and you're just going to start stacking each one of your ribbons, kind of forming an X or a T, whichever way you want to see it. And then you're just going to continue doing that with all of your ribbons until you're completely done with them. And then once you've done stacking all your ribbons, go ahead and just pinch them together in the center. And then grab, again, a rope, a ribbon, or you can grab one of these twist ties. And I'm just going to grab one of the garland twist ties, since I do want it to look more like a Christmas wreath. And I just wanted to add that little bit of greenery in between my bow. So I'm just grabbing one of these garland twist ties, twist it in the center of my bow, and then I'm going to fluff my bow up. Let me know in the comments below, will this be a wreath that you're going to use all year round, or are you going to do it just for a certain holiday? I actually regret adding glue to my bells and what have you that I add onto my wreath, as you see me doing right here, because I would have liked to have this wreath to use all year round and just maybe tie some jute twine around whatever bow I'm going to place on this wreath, and that way I can change it up for every season or just all year round. But I know this was very inexpensive. Basically, this was roughly about $1 to make, because all I used was a package of the clothespins. So it's very, very budget friendly. And I thought it looked so beautiful, so high end. But again, depending on what you want to place on here, that price can go up. But the main core of this wreath was basically just $1. So once you're done adding the rope onto your bells, I decided to go ahead and just add a little bow on top of each one of my bells, just to give it that touch that I like. And then I'm going to attach it to that one clothespin that we glued onto the top of our wreath. And you can tie a knot as well. I just wanted it to stay in place, or I didn't want it to slide down if I just tied a knot. So I made that choice to add a little bit of glue on that point of that rope, so I can just twist it around that clothespin to make sure my bells stay where I want them to stay. So once I was done with that, all I did was grab my bow again, and then I just placed it where I wanted to place it, flipped it over, and twisted those twist tie garlands together in the back, and then flipped it over and formed my bow again. And I decided to go ahead and add a little pine cone and some berries right in the center of my bow, just to give it more of that Christmas look. And there you have an adorable all wood style, farmhouse style Christmas wreath. So for our second wreath, I decided to make I want to call it a vintage light. So what I did was I'm using one of the football frames that you could get at Dollar Tree. They had these during Thanksgiving, and I believe they still have some. I've seen them around still in the Dollar Tree area where all the seasonal stuff is at. So hopefully you guys can find one. And then what I did was I grabbed one of these wine cups, or just the plastic cups at the party supply area, and I'm painting mine gray. Now, as you can see, I just put some paint onto my cup, and I didn't like the way it looked. I wanted it to have more texture. So what I did was I just allowed that top layer to dry, and then I got some baking soda and mixed it up with the same paint. And this paint is the elephant color from Apple Barrel. and I just mixed it up until I got it to the thickness I wanted. And then I'm going to give it a second coat using that paint with baking soda just to give it more of that textured look that I was looking for. So you can spray paint this, or you can do it the way I am and giving it more of a textured look with paint. So once you're done painting, go ahead and set that aside and allow it to dry. Now these rolls of ribbon or burlap ribbon I got at my local thrift store for 50 cents each. So, but I know these are at Walmart, and I believe they're about $3 or $4, a few dollars each roll. So it's still very budget friendly. For the one I'm going to make, I used 1.5 of these rolls. Now, as you can see, I'm just cutting each one of my burlap strips of ribbon into 12 inches, roughly 12 inches. I didn't make them all exactly the same size, but I did place my ruler down just to give me kind of a visual look of what size I wanted to do. But again, I didn't cut them all exactly the same size. So I went ahead and cut all of them the same size. Then what I did was, as you can see here, I wanted to show you, I grabbed one of those ribbons and then I just folded it into two to form 2 loops with each one of the ribbons. So again, I just kind of folded it one way, then folded it back, making sure they were all the same size, or at least kind of the same size. Then you fold it backwards and then you fold it frontwards again. Kind of like an accordion style fold. And that's exactly what it is. And then you're just going to continue doing that with all your ribbons. And then what I did was basically grab the bottom part. Then I just did again like an accordion, twisted it together with one of these pipes. And you can use the garland, any kind of pipe you have. I'm just using these glitter red ones that I had. And then I twist it to the bottom. Now, I know everybody makes their burlap wreaths a certain way. This is just the way I find it easier. And it's easier for me just because that way I can get kind of a close size on each one of my little loops of wreath, of my burlap, onto my wreath. Because the other ways I've done it, I tend to make them all different sizes. And I just don't like that look. So I wanted to go ahead and do it this way and kind of show you different ways and different options of how you can make any kind of wreath using burlap. Again, this is just the way I make my burlap wreaths. I've tried them a few different ways, and I do sometimes do them a different way, but this is just my favorite. So I wanted to share it with you. I hope you guys do try this way and let me know if it's easier for you this way or not. Just kind of curious to see which way is easier for you. So once you're done cutting and tying each one of your little sections together, all you're going to do is basically open it up where those 2 loops are at, and then pull it in between one of the wirings on your wreath. And then with that twist tie, you're going to twist it onto your wreath frame, just like this. And you're going to continue this process until you're completely done filling up your entire wreath. And as you can see, I'm adding 2 of these little sections of burlap into each one of my wirings, into each one of the sections of my football wiring. And just make sure you pull it really close and tight to your knot. And then you're just going to, again, twist that little extra piece of twist tie that you have left over onto your wreath frame. And this is the way it's going to look into each one of these little sections on each one of the wirings. So now you're going to go to the next section, grab one of your little burlaps, stacks or piles, and then you're just going to do it again, adding 2 to each one of these sections. So there you have it. Now, once you're completely done, you can start fluffing it up. I don't worry about fluffing this burlap up until I'm completely done and fill up my entire wreath. So here I am doing the bottom part. I just decided to do the bottom and top part first. You can do it any way you want. So here I am just putting one of the burlap little bunches to the bottom part. Now the bottom part of my wreath, I did just add one bunch to each one of those sections instead of two like I did on the top. Let me know which way do you think you like it better. And you'll see just a minute how it looks with just one and how it looks with the two. So that's the one and that's the two. So see, let me know how you guys are going to do it. So here I am just doing my little center part the same way. So it goes by pretty quick once you've already done all of these little sections of burlap. I just find it a lot easier for me to do it this way, but just whichever way you feel comfortable doing your wreath, go ahead and do it that way. So I'm just going to continue adding all my little burlap pieces into my wreath, pulling them nice and tight to make sure they're all the way towards the wiring. And then I'm just going to completely twist that extra piece of twist tie to my wreath to make sure that each one of these sections stays in place. So now once you're completely done with your frame, with making your wreath with the burlap, now you can go ahead and adjust each one of these sections, fluff it up, make sure it looks nice and full. If it doesn't, you can just add another piece of burlap there. So once I was done with that, I set it aside, and now I'm going to go ahead and get one of these round plastic shower curtain hooks, and or rings. I'm going to paint it the same color that I did for my cup, and I'm going to form the top of my light fixture or my light bulb using these two items. So once I was done, it was nice and dry, I just glued it onto the top of my cup and allowed it to dry. Now you're not going to hang it from this wreath ring on top of this cup for the top part of your light. You are going to hang it from the wreath itself, the wire framing, because I just added some hot glue onto that top of the shower hook. But if you did want to add some E6000 and some hot glue to the ring, then you would be able to hang it from that part if you wanted to hang it with some rope or something like that. But I just put some burlap rope in the back of my wire frame and hung it up that way. And this is the way it looks, all nice and complete. So which one's your favorite? This light bulb one or your clothespin wreath? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.